of attaining true independence and decolonization. In fact, language is the vehicle with which culture is rightly or wrongly expressed. Culture is deeply implanted in the language of a people, but the slave trade has tarnished and demeaned the essence of our culture, language, arts, and values. African languages are catalysts for the consolidation of the African cultural heritage. Developing the various cultural heritage associated with these languages that are currently scattered around Africa is important. Less than 20% of African languages have written forms, thereby making their learning practically impossible. To redirect African languages from disuse and extinction, more enlightenment campaigns should be vigorously pursued by the various governments of Africa on the potentials and benefits of various cultural heritages in various indigenous languages. It is compulsory to promote teaching and learning of indigenous languages and replacement of foreign languages that currently serve as official languages. People gain the ability and authority to make informed decisions and implement change in their own lives and the lives of other people. It is a means of encouraging youths to do great things for themselves and also to make great impact on the people. The empowerment of youths in the 21st century in Africa ensures a lot of good for the continent in curbing poverty eradication. This is because youth empowerment can curb the rate of poverty to a large level. When a youth is equipped with essential skills, he or she can utilize them to feed or assist others and even invest for future use, aiding the nation economically. The creative industry economy or the cultural industries could be used to empower African youths in this century where everything had gone digital. These industries have a big role to play in the development of African youths of this generation. The empowerment of youths in Africa can therefore be achieved through training, loans and grants, equipment and productive environment, and tapping into culture and creative arts as tools. The new media can also be used to increase the popularity of Africa's creative economy. Social media has become a space of cross-pollinating cultural knowledge that sustained Africa in the past, hence providing a versatile space that has placed the contemporary African art forms at the center of transformative possibilities. Content creators should reproduce traditional cultural songs to reimagine alternative Africa different from the one shaped by colonial history and patriarchy. TikTok, for instance, has become a space mediating the visibility of marginalized voices within reproduced literary pieces. We must also not lose sight of the African Union Agenda 2063, which envisions an Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, values and ethics, as well as integrated continent, both politically united, based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism and the vision of Africa's Renaissance. To put it best, true independence devoid of reliance on powers that are external to this continent is one of the many visions of the African Union. Literature, precisely, drama as a genre, can assist the realization of these visions. African nations should be encouraged to make concrete pronouncements on the need to use the various indigenous languages for official purpose. In addition, governments at the various levels in Africa should set aside funds that can be used for research purposes by educational and cultural institutions within the African continent. With this research, more of this cultural heritage will be developed. We should also shift attention to exploring the possibilities of utilizing creative and cultural industries as tools of African youth's empowerment in the 21st century. The choice of the youth is premised on the statistical fact that the youth form the bulk of Africa's active population, who disturbingly are largely unemployed and could be misdirected to participate in violent conflict. The youth can be aggregated as a period of human development which occurs between childhood and adulthood. Adopting the creative industry as empowerment, the onus is for policy implementation experts non-governmental organizations, governmental agencies and regional and continental bodies to reference academic resources to policies that frog-lift African cultural endowments to global reckoning. For a revival, and for the Africa we want on Agenda 2063 to be realized, relevant mental conditioning, taking responsibility of actions, the development of brilliant insights, and anchoring a psychology of winning are essential. Chike Okolo, reporting for Souq News.
Well, thank you very much indeed. My name is Stephen Kola Balogun. I happen to be a lawyer, and should I call myself a pseudo-politician? Not quite a politician, but I've served in government before, and I'm delighted to be here. Well, thank you very much. Well, yes, is it my family or the wider family? I mean, like I said, I'm the son of Chief Dr. Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Like I said, he was a former politician, a frontline politician. He was the General Secretary of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, later National Council of Nigerian Citizens. He was the General Secretary of that party for about 8 years. From there, he was appointed by Souq to become a federal minister. He was initially a federal minister without portfolio. Consequently, after that, he became acting minister for labor, social services, and then he became Nigeria's first federal minister for information in 1956. He held that portfolio to 1958. Thereafter, he resigned from government. He had disagreement with the party. And Tafawa Balewa felt that he was a useful politician that could be sent to Ghana. And he went to Ghana to find out what was. Ghana was a bit ahead of us in terms of politics at the time. And I think it's fair to say they got independence just before us. And Tafawa Balewa wanted someone to understudy, to find out what we're doing. So he sent Kola Balogun there. Initially, he was commissioner. And later, when we gained independence in 1960, he became High Commissioner. Shortly after that, when we became independent, he yearned to come home. He wanted to take part in the new political atmosphere at the time. He asked the Prime Minister to relieve him, to let him come back, and he did come back home. And immediately, he took up the position of being chairman of the National Shipping Line. That was a position he held on to until the military struck in 1966. But even then, when the military did strike in 1966, he still continued. I think General Debayo of blessed memory invited him to join his cabinet, and he served as a commissioner for about 3 years or more. I think he was commissioner for health and was commissioner for education. Later, he also became chairman of the sketch group of companies as well, and that was about it. I think after his stint in government, he decided to go and do a PhD at the University of Ibadan, and then he went back into private legal practice, and then he started this agitation for the creation of Osun State. He and a few others set up the movement. He was the chairman of the movement, and then to the glory of God, in 1991, Osun State was created. And that's it.
Tell us about mommy.
Well, yes, my mother. Well, in those days, the women were not so much in the forefront, But my mother has been my bedrock. She stood by me, and she has backed me in most of the things I've set out to do. And she's still alive. She's 89 this year, and she's still doing well, and she's still
And your wife
going
and the
strong.
kids?
Yes, my children. Yes, I have three girls, three daughters. My oldest is 31. She studied at King's College London. She did reasonably well. She got a second class offer. Proud of her. She's an art curator today. They have twin girls as well who are also in university now, that they haven't graduated yet. One of them is in Oxford University. She's studying history and politics. And the other is in Cambridge University. She's studying human, social, and political sciences. So, yeah. I did. I mean, my father, Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Yes, he was in the first cabinet in the First Republic, the first ever cabinet Nigeria had, and he served as the Federal Minister of Information and Research. As a matter of fact, he happened to be Nigeria's first information minister. Later, T.O.S. Benson, of course, became the independent Nigeria's first information minister, but independent Nigeria. But Nigeria's first ever information minister happened to be Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. No, I didn't. I took an opposite route from my father. My father went into politics immediately after he finished his education, and then he now ventured into law a little bit later. I decided to look at things differently. I thought that after academics I should practice law a bit, and that's what I've been doing. But at some point, I think that was in about 2011, I was called upon to serve in the Osun State government as a commissioner, and I took up that opportunity, and I enjoyed myself. Well, I am. I am in the sense that I'm 65 years old now, and I think it's fair to say that we belong to, well, I would say the first set, but one of those who benefited from Nigerian education. I schooled here. I went to secondary school in the West. I went to the University of Ife, went to the Nigerian Law School. I think it's fair to say that all the schools at that time were of high quality, produced top quality students who went on to make names for themselves, not just here in Nigeria, but also abroad. I think we still do that now, even though the standard of education has dropped. The sad thing about it is that Nigeria could have been a lot better in terms of the potential, because Nigeria does have a lot of potential. We do have very brilliant young men and women, and I just think that if we had invested more in education, that we could have, the sky would have been the limit, actually.